Welcome back to the Shine Within podcast. I have a wonderful guest here today. Her name is Zerla Stoller. She is a functional medicine practitioner, licensed physician assistant, and mother of two. From her own struggle with anxiety and explained symptoms, she found answers in healing through functional medicine, which is a root cause holistic approach. As a certified functional medicine practitioner, she helps busy women release anxiety, overwhelm, and dis-ease in the body through functional lab testing, nervous system regulation, and through a holistic personalized health plan to achieve sustainable energy, effortless weight loss, better moods, and restful sleep through her proven comprehensive Thrive protocol. That's THRIVE. And this is probably like a signature method, right, Zerla?
Yep, it is.
That's awesome. So thank you so much for joining today.
Yeah, thank you, Gina, for
Ve-
having me.
Yes, I'm very excited to have you on because God bless you first and foremost. We need more
Yes.
people like you in this world because growing up, I've seen a lot of doctors. I've experienced a lot of anxiety, gut issues, as well as mental health issues. And
Right.
I was always going to the doctor and I was given a pill, given a pill. This will help with your anxiety. This will help with this. This will help with that. And it never seemed to help. It only was like a band-aid covering a wound. It never got to
Yeah.
the root cause of what was the real problem, what
Right.
was going on. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
you and your expertise. And I just love what you do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You're
So if you
welcome.
don't mind sharing a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you became this beautiful functional medicine
A medicine
practitioner.
practitioner. Yes. Okay. So let's see. This whole thing started off with because of course I struggled with anxiety. So I struggled with anxiety for as long as I can remember, and I've had it since childhood. And as I got older, with more life experiences, of course, your anxiety gets a lot worse. And I think for me, like when it hit, I guess I could say rock bottom, it was actually when I had my daughter, my first child. So I had my first child, I got married, and there was just so many changes happening all at once. And all of a sudden, like my anxiety got so bad to the point where it was really, really affecting my relationships with my husband and my child and with work. And it's like it was like the anxiety took control over me. And there was even a point where I was even contemplating suicide because it was that painful. And so, I went to the traditional route. You go through counseling, which is helpful. I learned some tools there. I saw my regular doctor. They did all the blood work, checked my thyroid, of course, giving medications, which was helpful. It's helpful, but again, I was just one of those people that I didn't want to mask it. Those I didn't want to mask anxiety and I wanted to actually feel it and get to the root of it. I'm like, I just don't want it just makes me numb and I don't want to be numb. I actually want to feel. And so I just remember every time that I would take an anxiety pill, it would make me really, really sad. And there was times that I would cry because I'm like, this is going to be my life forever, is that I have to like pop a pill every single time. So, anyways, through my years, I just kind of was over it. I did everything that I possibly can. And then through my research, I've always been into like health and fitness, right? So I pretty much was doing everything that I possibly can. I was like exercising and eating healthy, like I say, healthy. But anyway, I started to seek like a more unconventional approach. I mean, I went to alternative practices like acupuncture, and that's where I actually started to really, really get introduced to this whole natural side of like treating mental health. Is because I saw this acupuncturist and she was amazing and she was talking about adrenal health and whatnot. And so I'm like, oh man, I feel so amazing. I'm like, there's something much more. So through my research, I came across functional medicine and I learned it's like a root cause holistic approach. And I'm like, okay, this is something that I need to learn more about. So I started doing more research and then I saw my own functional medicine practitioner and had some some blood work done, and it really opened my eyes, like, whoa, just thinking about this is like, okay, so I've been in conventional medicine. I'm a PA. So, and I've been practicing conventional medicine for 18 years. And I seriously was blown away with functional medicine because there was a lot more to the body than what we were trained to do in like treating our patients. And so when I learned all of this stuff where, it's not like a service level approach that you get with conventional medicine, it's really like getting to the root cause, which could be anything from, you know, your diet, something in your diet that's affecting your gut health or your hormones, or something like maybe toxins that you might be exposed to that you're not aware of. Once you get to that root and you pretty much heal it, um anyways, my anxiety got so much better. I mean, it got so much better to the point where like I am in control of it, and I could actually say that it's nearly 99 point something percent gone. Like I'll have the regular anxiety that you get, right? When you're like going to come on a podcast, for example,
Yeah, right, right,
or
right.
like whatever, the regular anxiety that you get with life. But the exciting anxiety, but that you could totally, you know,
That goes
overcome. But
away.
exactly, just the excitement. But anyways, so yeah, I don't have any of the other the bad anxiety, the where it affects your quality of life.
Right. And anxiety, that bad anxiety, like you said, does affect the
Yeah.
quality of your life. I remember many times when I was drinking a lot of alcohol and taking those anxiety medication, I
Yes.
would have
Yes.
even panic attacks. It got to a point where I
Yes.
had to hyperventilate and had to like breathe through
Yes.
like paper bag. And my whole,
Oh,
like either my right or left side, or maybe even both, was numb. I couldn't feel my face. Like I felt
yes.
like I was dying, literally dying. And it's just a horrible feeling. And I've
Yes.
had anxiety since I was little. Like I was talking to you earlier and I mentioned to you that I had stomach issue and we didn't know what it was. And so I had to go to the children's hospital and they put the scope down my throat and to check my stomach. And then they had then diagnosed as IBS, which is the irritable bowel syndrome. But there was something underlying it that I found out then later on in life as an adult,
Mhm.
not as a child, because
Right.
we don't know what's going on. We're just trusting everybody, the doctors, and
Right.
and come to find out, it was because I had the childhood trauma that was going on during
Right.
that time. And so trauma plays a
Yes.
factor in that. And what I love about you all is that you kind of address like the environment. You go to like the
Yes.
history of like like is there any trauma that you
Mhm.
experience? You
Yes.
go to the genetics. It's all
Right.
like biochemistry too,
Exactly.
right?
Yes,
I love that.
biochemistry. Yes, it
Yeah.
really starts like functional medicine is like it's really is a holistic approach. What you're looking at, your mind. I mean, you have to treating or mental health in always like your mind, your spiritual, your body, right? They all have to kind of work together. And so yeah, so when you're looking at mental health, I mean, you got to look at it. The way that I look at it is, I mean, it starts all the way from the very, very beginning. It starts when you're in the womb. So it's however your parents were, like your mom, she carried you, like things from even like what she ate, how she was feeling, if she was anxious, if she was depressed and she was going through her mood issues, it already starts there.
Mhm.
It already changes your biology. And then from there, then your childhood experiences through trauma and everything, that already will affects your biochemistry. It changes how we call it the HPA axis, which is your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which is your stress response. This is like all remodeled now, and so you become more hyper vigilant. So as you get older, things can easily activate that system, and create like anxiety and depression.
That makes a
But
lot of sense.
yeah, there's so much that goes into that.
Right. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the gut and anxiety and how they're
Yeah.
related.
Yeah. So gut health is very important when it comes to mood. Um, Everything that you take in through your mouth, like food, as I always tell people, food is information, it is code for your cells. the food that you eat, it's all the raw materials that you need in order to produce the proteins and things in your body, such as neurotransmitters, right? So it
Mhm.
always starts with the food. So in our standard American diet, there's a lot of high sugar, there's processed refined carbohydrates, there's a lot of starches and things like that that could really affect the gut. And our gut is said to be your second brain. So I don't know if you knew this, but our gut actually produces the majority of our neurotransmitters.
Oh, wow,
So
I
it
did not know that.
produces 80% of our serotonin, which is our feel-good transmitter, 50% of GABA. So it actually communicates directly with the brain. So through our neurotransmitters, but also through the vagus nerve, which is the nerve, it's the longest nerve in the body that connects the brain all the way down to the gut, as well as our other vital organs, and also our gut microbiome. So you can only imagine. So if you're eating all these processed foods or you're taking like medications like acid reducing medications, antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, meds for diabetes, any like meds that can alter your gut microbiome, it'll become impaired and that can affect. So however, what's going on in your gut will affect your brain, right? And so gut microbiome, if you guys are hearing this for the first time, the gut microbiome, what it is an ecosystem that has your good and bad bacteria. We have trillions of bacteria, more than we have DNA in our bodies. And there's been a ton of scientific research showing the connection between this gut microbiome and your brain health, mental health. And so these bacteria, I always look at it as like players of a team, like a sports team. They all have their own specific skills that they're good at. And so we kind of need all of these players. So if we have a good balance between them and we have a healthy gut microbiome, then we have a better mood. So, so yeah, so that's why we have to,
Better gut equals better mood.
yeah, better gut equals better mood. So definitely want to avoid the things that will affect the gut, like the processed foods, the medications, even stress. Stress can even alter our gut microbiome, which is going to affect our mood.
Wow, yes, and, I heard dairy also is not good for us as
Yeah,
well, and it messes with the
dairy can
stomach.
be, yeah, dairy can be inflammatory.
That's what it
So,
was, inflammatory. I was wondering,
yeah.
like, what was someone says, "Oh, you're not supposed to have dairy." I'm like,
So,
I can see why, because my stomach is like,
yeah,
eliminates that right away. It gets
right, right.
bloated. Yeah, it's because, my husband, I don't know, but hopefully he doesn't hear this later.
Yeah.
Sorry, hubby, but I'm going to put you on blast right now. He experiences either constipation or diarrhea.
Oh,
And it's either one or
yeah,
the other. And I said, you really need to go check your gut. And he's like, I'm so bloated all the time. I'm like, well, let's
yeah,
look at your food. And he's like saying, okay, well, 1 week we'll go ahead and do like low sugar, and no carb, and then we'll reverse it the other way. It's like we've tried everything.
right.
So I'm
Yeah,
like, maybe I need to have him see you or something.
right. Yeah, so those are definitely signs that there's some impairment, dysfunction in the gut. And so the other thing with the gut too, and how it's related to the brain or how it can affect your mood is that when we have food sensitivities like that, um, it causes a lot of inflammation in the gut. And what happens is when your gut gets so inflamed from all those food intolerances, you can actually there's a single layer of cells that line the gut. And so what happens is that when that gets so inflamed, those cells that line the gut can actually form little gaps. So we call it leaky gut. If you've ever heard of leaky gut's also known as gut permeability. And so when that happens, now when you eat food, those undigested food particles, proteins, toxins can actually leak out of your gut into your bloodstream, and
Mm,
it can cause an immune response, which can cause inflammation in your brain. So when you get inflammation in your brain, that causes like, anxiety, depression, brain fog. It can affect other areas like your hormones, and your hormones also play a role in your mood as well. It can affect your thyroid, and pretty much all the organs of your body, pretty
wow.
all the organs. It affects it. So yeah, so your gut is important because it houses 70% of your immune system. So that's another thing too. So there's so many reasons why, the gut is so important to address. It's probably one of the first things that I address when it comes to mental health or any other health condition.
Yeah, I've never knew
Yeah.
that. This is the first time
Yeah.
I'm actually hearing about how the gut can be related to our mental health. That's
Everything. I know.
crazy. Like so I know we talked a little bit about food. You can change your diet and eat not like no processed foods
Right. No
to
processed
help your gut.
foods.
What are some other ways that we can heal our gut?
Other ways that you can heal your gut. Okay, so enough of the processed foods, then there's the probiotics. So once you
Yeah.
kind of get rid of the foods that can, trigger inflammation, then you want to, yeah, then you want to probiotics. So you're now helping to increase the good bacteria. So that's a great way. So some people like to do it through supplements, but you could also do it through food. So fermented foods has a lot of probiotics like kimchi or sauerkraut. If you like that, there's tempeh. Um, there is kombucha, that kind of stuff, yogurt, non-dairy.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some
Non-dairy
almond yogurt.
yogurt.
Almond
And when I
yogurt.
tell people that, when I tell people, oh, yogurt's great. Yeah, it has lactobacillus. And they're like, yes. And they get all the dairy. I'm like, no. I'm
What's
like,
funny is that the dairy, so milk, I can't have milk, but I can actually have just plain yogurt. Not with
yeah,
the extra sugar or anything, but just the plain yogurt. That
yeah,
one's okay for my stomach, but milk, forget it. It just goes right out of me.
yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
So it's crazy. So dairy, here's one thing too about dairy. So dairy is, yeah, it's one of those things that I always say, if you could eliminate two foods for those people who don't want to do this whole huge elimination diet, dairy and gluten are like the two biggest ones because it can cause a lot of inflammation. But the thing with dairy too for people with mental health is that it's a what do they call it? It's like a peptide that it actually affects um it goes to your brain and affects them. I forgot already forgot. But anyways, it's one of those things that can actually trigger anxiety. You may not
Mm.
even have the symptoms of bloating or belly pain, and it may just be anxiety or brain fog. That might be your only symptom. So it's one of those things that you definitely want to try to eliminate and see how you feel about it.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your Thrive protocol because this is like your
Yes.
process that you take your clients through.
Yes. Let me like bring up my thing. So my Thrive protocol is pretty much the it's like my core pillars that I always address. I'm just going to bring up just in case I forget all my stuff. But anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
so Thrive, what it stands for is the T stands for taming toxins. Okay, so we are exposed to toxins daily, and it's in our household, like personal products, our cleaning products, and everything. It's pretty much in the foods that we eat, the air that we breathe, whatnot. Anyway, so these toxins can affect our immune system. We can get it, people with anxiety, or even, any mental health condition, whatever. We toxins are one of the things like I like to address because you can see it in the brain. Um, but anyways, it could lead to a whole bunch of mental health issues. I
Yeah.
guess it could affect your liver, a lot of toxic burden. So that's tame toxins. That's the T. The H is hormone harmony. So many women, they experience hormonal imbalances at some point in their life. And our hormones, if it's not balanced, can cause and lead to mood issues, right? Because the estrogen, progesterone, they work on the same neurotransmitter receptors in the brain, like GABA and serotonin. So when those are
Mhm.
off balance, it's going to alter the neurotransmitters in our brain, which can affect our mood and our weight and all that stuff. So that's something I always address as well. Restoring gut health, which is what I just went through. That's the R. And then the I is identifying imbalances. And I do this through functional lab testing. So this is different from the labs that you get done through your regular doctor. These are more advanced and it's usually not covered by insurance, but it's very helpful. It gives you an insight of what's really going on in the body. And the V in Thrive stands for vitality. So that pretty much is I work on nutrient getting your nutrients back up, because most of the time everyone that sees me, they're usually very depleted of nutrients, which causes a
Mm,
lot of imbalances in the gut and hormones. So just by replenishing the nutrients through foods, stress reductions, even nutraceuticals, you can have a lot more energy, and strength, right, to carry your
right.
day-to-day activities. And then the E is the establish and evolve. So this is kind of like through the course of treatment with me, I give you like the tools that are tailored to your unique lifestyle and schedule. So that way you are flexible. So when you go out kind of when you're on your own, then you're able to really be in tune with your body and know exactly what it needs.
Right.
So that's
It's
what that Thrive
important.
protocol.
I love
Yeah.
that. And we're supposed to be in tune with our body. And I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
us are just so far away from our own actual body. And the body is very
Yeah.
important. It's what gets us through our day. Like I wake up, the
Yeah.
first thing I'm like, oh, my back is hurting. Oh, and then which kind of
Yeah.
brings down my mood, makes me a little bit
Right.
cranky. So it's like,
Right.
well, what's going on here? And so what I love about your type of functional medicine is that you really get down to like it's personalized.
Right.
You kind of
Right.
connect emotionally with your clients.
Right.
Unlike a doctor's visit, I was just watching. By the way,
Yeah.
I was watching a wonderful TEDx. This lady, her name is Minnie Malhorda, and she
Yeah.
kind of like breaks it down how she transitioned from being a doctor, like in the conventional
Yeah.
realm, into the functional medicine realm. And she's just saying, like typical doctor's visit lasts only about 15 to 24 minutes.
Yeah.
And they just get just enough, they don't get enough detailed history, and they don't get enough
Right.
information through the examinations, and they don't even have that emotional connection.
You're right.
So, and then she also says that it's only enough to listen to the symptoms and then make a diagnosis to match the diagnosis to the right ICD-10 code.
Right.
Which then everyone could be grouped in that same thing,
Right.
right? So
Exactly.
what I was like, you know what? If this is like what you do is more personalized and you're going to doing your own lab testing, and there must be a reason why the insurance doesn't cover doesn't
The
cover it.
the insurance doesn't cover it. Well, you know what? It takes 16 years for um conventional medicine to catch up to the research that's
Ah,
out right now. It takes
I
16 years.
yeah.
So it's actually kind of crazy because all this stuff like that we're learning functional medicine, all this stuff actually was known centuries ago.
Oh
Like
wow.
it was things that were used back then, like how you see in like Eastern medicine,
Yeah.
like everyone uses like natural methods, but it's just the way things are done here, unfortunately, I feel, it's all about money. I
Right.
hate
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
it, but
yeah.
it is in the pharmaceutical company and the food industries, things like that. So I like women to be really empowered to learn how to treat themselves naturally without having to rely on your insurance to get better. It's like you don't need all that stuff. You don't need all the medications and all that. You can even prevent surgeries, but just by really knowing like what is going on in your body, like getting to the root cause so you could start healing right now. I mean, that will save you a lot of money in the future and a lot of, what is it? Loss of time.
Yes, and then she
Right.
also mentions like it's the conventional is more like a disease management system,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
right? And then
Mm-hmm.
here you're trying to get rid of the dis-ease because
Right. The
dis-ease
dis-ease.
equals dis-ease and
Right.
vice versa.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes, yep. You definitely, there's a lot more. Like I could say that not one single client has the same protocol, even if they have very similar issues. They're all so, so different. And then in the conventional space, like from my experience, like it's almost like so functional medicine is like a one size fits, not a one size fits all. And then you have the conventional, which is like a one size fits all. So you have someone
Mhm.
coming in with the same thing, right? Like you, for example, like you with back pain,
Yeah.
we'll do the same thing. We're like, okay, so you have back pain. How long have you had it? Okay, so here's some meds. Here's some anti-inflammatories, maybe some muscle relaxants. If they're not any better, we'll probably send you to some therapy or something, and then boom, you're done. And most
Yeah.
of the case, that works out for someone who has acute pain from obviously a, obvious injury, but someone
Mhm.
who's had chronic issues, for years, we kind of put them in the same boat. They come to see you for the first time. We're going to treat them like someone who just had an injury a week ago. Oh, chronic pain. Let's start with the same things. Okay, we're going to do the anti-inflammatory medications and this and that. But it's different. There's a whole lot
Right.
of other things that can cause that. There's emotional stuff. Then you got to look at like, maybe you're lacking nutrients, maybe it's a gut health issue, all these things that could play a role into why you're having those symptoms.
Yeah, totally. And she
Yeah.
also had this quote here. She quoted, "Functional medicine understands that one disease can have many causes, and one cause
Hmm.
can cause many diseases. Also
Yeah.
understands that targets a specific manifestation of the disease in that individual rather than a one size fits all solution, like you
Yeah,
said."
exactly.
So
And
it's
when I
crazy.
tell people that like, did you know that every symptom in your body are connected? They're like, what? So those people that you hear like, I have this symptom and it sounds so unusual. I tell this to like my colleagues, right? In conventional medicine, I tell them to my colleagues, I said, when you have that patient where you're like, they name off like 20 different symptoms. And of course, we're like, okay, when you have someone coming in with 20 different symptoms, we call them hypochondriac, and then we prescribe them an antidepressant. We're like, okay, obviously this person has something wrong with them. So we'll give them the
Right.
antidepressant. But that's not how it works. And when I get those people, those are the people I see, by the way, are the ones with like 20 different symptoms that seem totally unrelated, but they're actually all related
Related.
in some way or another. And I like those people because it's challenging, and I love it when I finally get to the root of it and they feel so much better and I get them to their new baseline. I'm like, that is how you're supposed to feel.
Right? Yes. Oh my
That is how you're
gosh.
supposed to feel. Yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, conventional healthcare is good when you have like a broken,
Yeah.
like emergency. You have to go to
Right.
ER, heart attack,
I mean, you know what? I always like with my clients, I always make sure they're working with their regular doctor as well. It's so important. And I
Mhm.
usually use the conventional when I'm trying to like, if I need further diagnostic testing. So if
Yeah.
someone comes to me and their bleeding is irregular and kind of all erratic, I'm not going to start like, oh, let's go treat, like, let's just treat the hormones because there could be
Right.
something structurally wrong. So I'm like,
Mhm.
I kind of would feel more comfortable if you had an ultrasound done, maybe an endometrial biopsy given your age or something like that. So I definitely always use the conventional medicine at the same time while I'm treating them for all the other like hormonal issues.
Yeah, you
It's
do
important.
both things. That's awesome.
Yeah, I do, but because I've practiced women's health for 9 years. So like I'm very familiar with a lot of period problem issues and what it could be. And
Mhm.
so I'm not going to just focus on like functional medicine, holistic health. I'm going to make sure that everything's ruled out, you know,
Yes, and us
everything's ruled
women,
out.
like we're always hormonal. We start
Hmm.
our period at a what the adolescent age, and then we have babies. That's more,
Right.
and then
Right.
menopause. It's like we're constantly
Yeah.
hormonal. Like I'm always like, my husband always tells me, is your period starting soon because you're kind of cranky. I
Yeah.
said, shut
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
are some ways that, women with these hormonal imbalances? I always felt like I had a hormonal imbalance. Like I even went to therapy and they said I had like, what is it? Not postpartum. It was like,
PMDD,
yeah, PMDD. What is
premenstrual
that?
dysphoric,
Yeah, what is
premenstrual
that?
dysphoric. So
Diagnose me with that.
it's a condition. It's like, I always say it's like PMS times 10.
I must
So
have
it's
been
like
really crazy
PMS
then.
times 10, but the women, I was actually just reading about this. But anyways, like women with PMDD are more sensitive to changes in the the fluctuations in your hormones. And so PMDD can be, it's different than PMS because people with PMS, I mean, women with PMS, you can get like symptoms maybe like a week before your period, I mean, a little cramping sensation, all the things that you have PMS, but PMDD is you get like really bad irritability, depression, anxiety, and all the things. It could be extremely debilitating, but definitely highly treatable.
Highly treatable because I don't have that anymore. Like I don't feel like I'm
That's
that cranky.
amazing. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
aware of like, hey, I
yeah.
actually tell my husband, yeah, I apologize in advance. I'm just not feeling it today. My period is coming soon, so
Yeah.
I always say I apologize. I'm not myself. I am not Gina today. I
Yeah.
apologize. I always tell so everyone has a heads up in case I'm a little snappy or moody. They're like,
Right.
Okay, we'll let her pass this time.
Right,
'Cause I live
right,
with all boys, and so
right.
with all boys in the house, I get like,
Wait, do you have that like so the PMDD was before, so you had that before?
yeah. So okay, so when I was experiencing my drinking, I was in heavy in my alcoholism.
Yeah.
I was very angry. I was very violent, and
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was like anger issues. I no, not he didn't even ask me if I was drinking or anything. It was like, okay, you have this, and it was a male. It wasn't in a
Yeah.
female. It was a
Yeah.
male psychiatrist, and he's like, well, let me prescribe you with this, or what was it? Some medication for like depression or anxiety. It didn't help at all, and it
Yeah.
wasn't until I had that. Well, first off, I had to get sober. That was
Yeah.
the first thing. I had to get sober,
Yes.
and I then had to have a coach to help me with my mind. And
Yeah.
then once I was mentally good, let's just
Yeah.
say, not perfect, but good,
Yeah.
I felt like everything else in my body started changing. Now, mind you, I still have back issues, but I've been in many car accidents, and
Yeah.
but I do a lot of stretching, breathing exercises,
Yeah.
and just practices that actually take away the pain. So I'm seeing myself less and less taking. Oh, I don't have any medication. I used to be on, let's see, Prozac, Wellbutrim, Lexapro, Boost Bar,
Oh my God.
Trazodone. Not all at once, but like
Oh,
all of
okay. I
these
was
things.
like, I'm like,
Three of them all at once. This was
yeah.
during my recovery. But I
Yeah.
don't even think I needed that medication during my recovery.
Yeah.
It was not necessary. Maybe just give me some chamomile tea, give me a massage, and then, let me just breathe
Right.
and get a
Right.
mindset coach or something, or even a
Right.
functional medicine practitioner just to see what's really going on in my body
Yeah.
to help me. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they just prescribe, here, bye.
Right.
But to
Right.
let you know, I've been off these medications for a long time, and I'm just
Awesome.
really into the holistic health and
That's
just taking care of
awesome.
myself.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know when you're putting these things in your body, it's like it actually, okay, so it might help a little bit with one thing, but then it'll cause more issues, other things. Like
Right.
those antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications, it affects your gut so much and it causes like there's nutrient deficiencies, which in turn causes mood issues. So it's
Right.
going around in this
Cycle.
cycle, right? You're like, I'm gonna take this to feel better, but then yet it affects my mood more that I have to take more and more and more. And then like
Yes.
before you know it, you're on more medications, higher doses,
Yeah, I was
right?
saying there, I was reading something that said like the typical American, they will wake up, take a warm shower, have their coffee, and take five prescribed medications in the morning time. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's just like
So,
crazy.
so sad.
Yeah, so
I'm
I'm
like
I'm
so
very
sad.
blessed. I'm very blessed not to have any medication at all. I'm just taking supplements now, like,
That's
vitamins, noni,
awesome.
minerals, magnesium, all these different
That's
things, and
so
it's
awesome.
helping me with my energy, and it's helping me so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would you say? What are some good supplements for a woman out there?
For a woman, okay. So the ones that I always use, it's like I always give this to almost all the women that I see because it's such a common deficiency. There's magnesium, for example. That's really good for hormones. It's extremely calming. And magnesium is one of those nutrients that is like involved in like over 400, probably more than 400 enzymatic processes in the body. But it's such a huge deficiency I see. So there's magnesium. So if you're going to take that, I always recommend magnesium glycinate. You can try that 300 milligrams at nighttime. Especially those who have like PMS, helps with mood and all that. So there's that. Um, there's the B vitamins. That's a common deficiency as well. So I always like to give like active B complex or complex B vitamins. That's really important to take. Omega 3s are really good. That is so important for, brain health, hormones, a lot of things. I mean, it coats the membranes of cells and helps with the communication between your neurons. So if you're someone with mental health issues, that's always something that I give like at least 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams a day. There's that. Zinc is a common deficiency that I see. Um, Other supplements that can actually help to also calm. So for example, like your adrenal system, which can also help with your gut too, or even like adaptogens like ashwagandha, if you've heard about that, that helps
Mm.
to support your adrenal glands. And your adrenal glands, if you don't know, it's what is where some of your hormones. So your hormones, you get it from your ovaries, and your adrenals are like your backup gland, but that helps to support your adrenal function. Also, and then so there's adaptogens, there's that. I'm trying to think on the top of my head. Um, Vitamin D is big. That's a deficiency I see almost I probably in every single person that I
Oh,
meet.
wow.
Vitamin D is big deficiency. I mean, even in myself, which is strange because I get a ton of sun because
Right?
you could get vitamin D from the sun, but I get a lot of sun because I used to like run all the time and I'm
Yeah.
outdoors. But I still was really deficient in vitamin D. So that one, that's a supplement you could do. But yeah, I would say that's
Yeah, so my mom, she takes a lot of supplements and she's mostly healthy, very healthy. She's about to turn
yeah.
73, I think, next month.
Wow. Yeah.
And but she looks beautiful, like very in shape,
Yeah.
very much into like health. But she
That's
has a
awesome.
lot of stress, and I hope she doesn't listen to it. I'm gonna put her on blast too.
Yeah.
Sorry, family, but I but she actually, as a matter of fact, just yesterday she was gonna come with us to go see my aunt and do the surprise birthday. But she woke up with like Bell's
Oh,
palsy.
yeah. Yeah.
So they said that was, and her face got crooked, and we're wondering like, well, what
Oh no.
happened? Because she's so
Uh-huh.
healthy. They did all the tests there and everything, and she's healthy. But something was, they don't know what the cause was. And so I'm thinking, is it like, because she's like a worry word. She's just worrying
Yeah.
about everything, and she feels like too much, but she takes it on herself. I'm like, "Mom, you don't
Right.
have to do this." She's like, "Oh, I have to." I said, "No, you have a choice to relax."
Yeah.
So I tell her, like, "No, just she doesn't listen." I guess it's just her personality, maybe. But I think it's the nervous system. I don't know. But she takes all these things, but yet the nervousness, the stress, the anxiety
Oh
that is
no.
underlying can still cause someone to be very ill. And it's so
Right.
sad.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway, so I thought I'd share that with you.
So
But I
she's taking supplements like the kinds
Everything
that I
that you meant. Oh,
mentioned,
yeah, everything there, and
like
she doesn't
that.
take them, like, all in one, she takes them all individualized. Do you think
Yeah.
individual supplements are better than when they put it all
Yeah,
together?
for sure.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah. I
Makes
always do
sense.
a multivitamin to kind of fill in the gaps kind of
Right.
thing,
Yeah.
but I feel like the single supplements by itself is a little more powerful because can you imagine like one little pill and there's
Right.
like 20 ingredients in there. You can only have so much of each one and it's like such a
Yeah.
little amount. So yeah, that which is why again, the targeted nutrition approach with knowing what your labs look like is important because then you can actually personalize for those specific nutrients that you tend to be deficient in. And then, I mean, most of it, you can get a lot of your nutrients from foods that you eat. And then, use supplements for the ones that you tend to be extremely deficient in. But yeah, but
Yes.
for your mom, there definitely could be something underlying because sometimes it's, she may be taking all the nutrients, but the other thing too is you have to know like it's also the utilization of the nutrients, right? So
Mhm.
how is she actually absorbing the nutrients? Does she have a gut health issue? Right. So if her gut is impaired, she might not be using the nutrient or she might not be able to absorb it. And also how she's utilizing. So, like, for example, stress. Again, a lot of it's, there's mental and emotional parts of it, but when your body's under a lot of stress, you tend to deplete through your nutrients a lot faster. And so when you deplete through your nutrients, now you don't have the nutrients that are needed for neurotransmitters, right? So
Mhm.
that can make her even more stressed and more overwhelmed.
Mm.
And it affects our behaviors and things like that. So there's also you got to look at again the root
The root
cause
cause of
why, yeah,
everything. Yeah, and you
you
do
know,
lab tests, you do stool testing too,
yeah,
and people
stool
probably
tests,
get it.
hormones,
Do they do
you
that at
name
home and
it.
they send it to you, or do they do it
Yeah, 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 yeah. We have it through all the labs that I do. They're pretty much all sent through the home in the kits.
Oh, yeah,
But there
kids,
are
yeah.
some that where you have to go to the lab, but I send you like a requisition or whatever, you go to the lab. But yeah, but it's pretty easy. Yeah. Send your mom my way.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, because labs are very important to get the blood work and everything, even like a
Yeah.
urine sample, and and then you just see, okay, this is what's going on, and then you kind of make your own plan for
Yeah.
them, a
Because
personalized plan for them.
you don't want to guess. I mean, you could almost kind of guess what might be going on just based on your symptoms, kind of guess, but there's a lot of overlap between conditions, right? They all can kind of look very, very similar,
That's right.
right?
Yeah. Oh, I love talking about gut health and anxiety because first off, I didn't know that they were related until talking to
Yeah.
you, and then the adrenal as well. And now there's like adrenal massage. I mean, I'm a massage therapist. I know there's a lymphatic
Yeah.
massage,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and that actually does that help with the adrenals as
Yes,
well?
absolutely. I always recommend body work.
Body work is good. Yes.
That's like part of it because, yeah, because your lymph is part of you. I mean, it's part of your immune system. And if you're not draining properly, which is one of the things I always like to do in the beginning, is you want to open up your drainage pathways, right? Because it's how we get rid of our toxins. So when you have like all the backup in toxins, which could go to your brain or all your other organs, you get symptoms. It needs a place to go. So yeah, so body work, lymphatic drainage is really important.
That's great. Now,
Yeah.
you're beautiful, you're healthy. I just want to know
Thanks.
what Zerla's. Yeah.
Well,
You have a nice figure. I want to know what Zerla's daily routine is. What
my
do you
daily
do
routine.
when you wake
Okay,
up?
so this is what
Morning
I do when
routine.
I
Yeah.
wake up. So I always like having a routine because it just starts my day off great. So I wake up at 5:30 every morning. I always start with my matcha tea latte. Matcha is a great substitute for caffeine, anyone who has anxiety, because it has L-theanine, which actually helps with your serotonin, mood, and it has other ingredients in there too that can help with other things. But otherwise, I do my matcha in the morning. I always do like a 10-minute meditation all the time off of YouTube. But anyways, I
It's
do a
convenient.
10-minute meditation. And then I always look at like my calendar for the day. So I always see like what I'm going to do for the day. And then I get my kids ready for school. I always have almost every day, it's always a smoothie in the morning because that's always the best thing. You always want to start with, I mean, the smoothie, it's the easiest thing to make, especially if you're like a busy person, busy mom. It's the greatest because you could get your protein in there. You can add your fats and fiber and all the things that you need for your balanced meal, and it helps to get you through so you don't get that afternoon slump, some people get. So you want to make sure you balance your sugars. So I do this smoothie and then I pretty much work. And then in between time, I'll find some time. Usually I do like more meditation in the middle of the day, even if it's for 5 minutes, stretches. And then at the end of my work day, I exercise almost every single day,
Wow.
every day. So if it's a day that, when I say exercise, I mean that's like a day I'm actually doing an exercise, but I still do movement every single day. So on the days I'm not like exercising, I'm at least like walking or something.
Right. You're moving your body every
Yeah,
day.
moving your body. That's like so important. We're like made to move. So exercise I get every single day. Um, what other things? That's pretty much it. I just try to stick to the basics, sleep, the food that I eat, the water, everything I keep clean as much as possible. Um, yeah,
Clean eating is important. Yeah, moving the
clean
body and
eating.
eating right and just taking the proper supplements when needed and then seeing someone like you.
Right, exactly.
It seems-
See, and hopefully when you see someone like me, I'm the last person that you will ever see. That's my
Right?
goal. That is my goal because like it's not going to be like a one-time treatment thing. It's going to be like, no, you're going to get to the root of your own issue and you're going to know exactly how to treat yourself. And that's it.
Right, right. Now,
Yeah.
we have a lot of listeners here that have anxiety. I think probably a majority of the Americans have
Yeah.
anxiety here. What would you say to somebody who is looking to help their anxiety just by bringing it down from a level 10 to at least a 5?
Level 10 to at least a 5. Okay, so I have a free gift for you guys.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's my ultimate anti-inflammatory guide, and I always tell people to start with this. This is what I start all my clients with too. It's because, again, it starts in the diet, and you want to know an anti-inflammatory diet. Anti-inflammatory diet is very similar to paleo. So if you wanted to look at paleo, you can do that too, but it's pretty much a whole foods diet, right? So you want to focus on your nutrition first. So the anti-inflammatory guide is really helpful for that. You want to establish the basics, the foundation, right? Which is the sleep. You want to have quality sleep 7 to 8 hours a day. We all know what that could do to our mood. We
Yeah.
all know, okay, our mood, our hormones, everything. So you got to have the sleep. You got to make sure you're pooping at least once a
Right?
day. That is so important because if you're not pooping once a day, okay, that who knows? That could be the reason why you're having anxiety.
Right?
Okay.
All that
There's all
nasty
that
stuff in your gut.
backup. There's all
Yeah.
that backup and everything. It's going somewhere and it's going to leak out in your system and it can affect your
Mm.
brain, causing inflammation. So we want to make sure we're doing that. So supporting your gut for things that I talked about in the beginning is important. Drinking a ton of water. Okay. Oh, my rule of thumb is drink half your body weight in ounces. Making sure that you're getting exercise movement every day. There has been numerous studies showing the effects of exercise on the brain, and that it can actually form new neurons, and it's helpful for mental health and everything else. So again, so establishing those foundations. Um, Supplements are very helpful for that. So if you're looking for supplements that could help, there's L-theanine, ashwagandha that I talked about. There's magnesium glycinate. You can try GABA, although not recommended that you're on it long term. So those are helpful. I'm trying to think of the other ones I've taken. Passion flower is also a good supplement to take. And other important nutrients, yeah, I said magnesium, the B, and the zinc are really important, especially with people with anxiety. Those are common nutrient deficiencies in people with anxiety. Probiotics too. Probiotics are psychobiotics. So so there's
Love
so
that.
probiotics help with mood. Um yeah, but yeah, those are that's a great place to start. You should feel different, feel better with
That is
that.
amazing. Thank you so much for the free gift.
Yeah.
I'm going to take advantage of
Yeah.
that myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Zerla, where can everyone follow you or find you?
I hang out on Instagram. That's probably my playing ground. So, handle is Thriving with Zerla. So Zerla is spelled Zerla. So Thriving with Zerla on Instagram. You can also check out my website if you want, www.thrivingwithzerla.com. I am on Facebook too if you want to find me there, Zerla Stoller. But yeah,
Awesome.
come hang out.
Yeah, come hang out with Zerla. Get healthy right
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Zerla, for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gina. It was fun.
Always,
A lot of
always fun with you.
fun. Always fun.
All right, take care.
So, yeah.